Hello. In this video, it'd be useful if you have either a bolster or a blanket handy, just for a couple of the poses. And if you don't, I'll offer you some alternatives. And blocks are sometimes handy for a couple of poses, but again, not essential. So today we're going to start on our backs. So either grab a bolster or take a blanket and fold it in a way that it's maybe 6 or 7 inches wide and long, so you can rest your whole spine and head on the blanket. And what you're going to do is place the blanket or bolster along your mat the same direction as the mat, just at the end where your head is. If you're using a bolster, take your fist and place it at the end of the bolster and then slide your hips up close to your fist, so there's a tiny bit of space between your hips and your bolster. Keep your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and then lay right down on the bolster. Place your hands on the ground, palms facing up. Bring your feet in just close enough that they're comfortable. Keep your feet as wide as the mat, and then let the knees tent together. And just breathe here. Your chest will feel a little more open. Take a nice long, slow inhale, filling up your lungs. And exhale, let it go. We'll be here for a couple of minutes, so just stay where you are. Another nice alternative for this, if you prefer to get your, it's a little extra hip opener, is you can bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees go wide. But see what feels best for you. And if this is too much of a chest opener, if it's more than what you want, you can also take the blanket or bolster away and just lay flat on your mat and breathe. Sometimes this is plenty for people. Just walk your shoulder blades together, opening your chest. So just stay where you are. We'll be there for a couple of minutes. So just stay on your back in whatever version is best suited for you today. So with a new year beginning, this is an opportunity to look at everything anew with a fresh mind, fresh perspective. So to practice that, we're going to be practicing with a beginner's mind. So if you happen to be new to yoga, it's your advantage today in today's class. There's a lovely quote by Shunryu Suzuki. They're a Zen Buddhist monk. They say, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few." So just play with this practice today. Imagine you've never done any of these poses today, even if you've done them all your life. Just imagine every single pose is new to you. Explore it, play with it. Do you enjoy the pose? Just look at it with fresh eyes, as if you've never done these poses before. So take a couple of more breaths on your back, inhaling deeply, letting your chest open, filling up your chest, your rib cage, your belly, and exhale, let it go. Just inhale deeply as if it's a new breath. It is a new breath, but just as if it's all new to you. And exhale freely and see how it feels. Now, wherever you are, in whatever position you are on your back, gently hug your knees to your chest, both knees to your chest, and softly rock side to side. Notice the sensations in your body. Explore how this feels. We're just slowly moving our bodies as if for the first time. We're beginners at this. Now hug your right knee to your chest and straighten your left leg. Draw your right knee into your chest. Maybe pressing your left leg into the mat, or be gentle. What works best for you? And switch sides. Draw your left knee into your chest, straightening your right leg. Just gently or firmly, if that feels good, hug your left knee into your chest. Now using your left knee as a lever, you can interlace your fingers in front of your shin and just pull your whole body up with your shin, with your left leg. Come on up to a seated position. And cross your legs. If you have blocks handy and it's more comfortable for you, you can sit on the blocks, or you can sit on the bolster or the blanket, something to elevate your hips. Bring your hands to your side, and as you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, turn your palms out and slowly lower your arms down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Inhaling, rise. And exhale, let it go. Place your left hand on the mat beside you. Turn your right palm up. On an inhale, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and then over to the other side. Pressing your right sit bone into the mat for a deep stretch. And draw your right shoulder and elbow back. And then come on back to center. Lower your right hand and lift your left arm up and over to the other side. Drawing your elbow back. And come on back to center. Place your hands behind you on the floor. Uncross your legs and take your feet almost as wide as the mat, and just windshield wiper your knees side to side. And come on back to center. And then just place your feet behind you and make your way onto hands and knees. As you inhale, arch your back, lower your chest, your belly towards the mat, tilt your pelvis and look up. As you exhale, round your back. Let your head lower, lifting your spine towards the ceiling. And inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Move through this at your own pace, just exploring the sensation in your spine and your body. Imagine you've never done this before. How does it feel? Which shape feels particularly good on your body and your body's asking for more? Which shape is maybe not feeling as good? If something feels good and you want more, dive in and just hold that portion. And straighten your right leg out behind you. Press the toes into the mat and push that right heel back. Just stay there getting a good stretch. I'll just move the bolster so you can see what I'm doing. And then release that, lower the right knee to the mat and straighten the left leg. Press the toes into the mat and then gently push the heel back. You can use your hands to push the mat forward. And then release that stretch, come back to tabletop. And now from here, just stay where you are. On an inhale, reach your left arm out to the side and up. As you exhale, thread the arm through and rest the shoulder and head on your mat. Just breathe here. You might feel that this is right where you want to stay, or you can lift your right arm up and rest your right hand behind your left hip. Just breathe. Let go. And now lower your right hand to the mat and make your way back up to tabletop. Reach your right arm out to the side and up. As you exhale, thread that arm through and rest your right shoulder and the right side of your face on the mat. Either keeping your left hand where it is or reaching your left arm up and behind on your back. And then come back. Place your left hand on the mat, lifting up, coming back to tabletop. Now just come up onto your knees. Straighten your left leg out to the side. Keep that left foot flat on the mat. Left hand can rest on the left leg and turn your right palm up. On an inhale, reach your right arm up and over to the other side. Draw your right elbow back and breathe. And then lower your right hand to the mat and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. And now turn your left palm forward and reach your left arm up over your head and lift your rib cage up towards the ceiling. Just breathe. And then lower your left hand down and come on back up. And lower your left knee to the mat and place your right leg out to the side. So right foot is flat on the floor. Place your right hand, let it rest on your right leg. Turn your left palm up. As you inhale, reach your left arm up and over to the other side. Your right hand may slide down your leg. Draw your left shoulder back. And breathe. This is Parigasana, gate pose. Now lower your left hand, let it come right down to the mat and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Left hand ideally would be directly under your left shoulder, roughly. Turn your right palm forward and reach your right arm up over your head and lift your rib cage up as if you could make a little C with your body. And then lower your right hand down. Come on back up to a kneeling position. And now come on and face one of the ends of your mat. So you're not facing sideways, you're facing forward. And place your hands towards the front of the mat and come right onto your belly. And now from here you can come on to have the tops of your feet on the mat so your feet are pointed. And come onto your elbows. Now start with your elbows a couple of inches in front of your shoulders. How does that feel? So have elbows forward enough that your rib cage, just the lower part of your rib cage, is on the mat. This is a great way to do Sphinx pose. It protects your lower back this way. And still think about drawing your chest forward, shoulders back. Now if your back feels really healthy and you want a slightly deeper chest opener, draw your elbows towards you, like draw them closer to you, and then lift your shoulders up, chest forward, shoulders back. Only bring the elbows back as far as the closest you want to go is elbows directly below the shoulder. So it's not back here. So either elbows under the shoulders or further forward, and it protects your lower back. And breathe. Think about opening your chest forward, shoulders back, in Sphinx pose. How does this feel on your body? Imagine you've never done this before. Couple more breaths. And then just lift your elbows up enough to lower right onto the mat. And place your palms together. So stack one hand over the other so you can make a little pillow and rest your forehead on your hands. Just for a couple of breaths here. And now place your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, and lift your body back up to tabletop. And now from here, walk your knees forward, tuck your toes, and just come up slowly. So lift your knees up off the mat, walk your feet forward towards your hands. Bend your knees enough that you can rest your elbows on your thighs to start. So do it in a way that your back is straight. So if your back is rounded, just open your chest and draw your shoulders back. Keep that straight spine. Now this is where if you have blocks and you want to use them, you can. You can either stay with your elbows resting on your thighs, or you can place your hands on blocks in front of you and then keep your spine straight. Bend your knees as much as you need to, or straighten one leg and the other. And if you don't have blocks, you can cross your arms, let your head dangle, or you can place your hands on the mat if that's available to you. We'll be here for a minute or so. Whatever version works for you. Just feel how it is in your body. This is all new to us today. Let your head go. Maybe straighten one leg and then the other. On an inhale, come halfway up, nice flat back, so shoulders back. And then just let your arms be straight and let them land on your legs wherever they land. And now from here, bring your arms out to the side and very slowly tuck your chin, but slowly come on the way to standing. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart and release. So come to a standing position, feet hip distance apart. So your hips are actually right. They're a little bit closer to each other than you think. Some people think their hips are out here, and understandable, but just bring your feet so that your hips, if you were to draw a straight line from where your hip bone is, it would go straight down to your second toe, between your second and third toe. Now just lift your shoulders up and bring them behind. Lift your toes up, spread your your toes wide, and maybe the arch of your foot will come up. And now spread them wide and then gently, slowly lower each toe down, back down to the mat. And now from here, on an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. With your left hand, hold on to your right wrist. Extend your right arm up, let your hips roll to the right, bring your hands to the left. Just breathe here. And back to center. Release that. With your right hand, hold on to your left wrist. Stretch your left arm up. Hips roll to the left, hands to the right. And breathe. And back to center. Release your hands. Now just stay where you are. Keep your feet where they are. I'll just show you what we're doing next. Interlace your fingers together behind your back. Have your knees slightly bent. Open your chest forward. Draw your shoulder blades together. And now lead with your chest and fold forward. Let your hands come up. And breathe. And then slowly come on up to standing. Release your hands. Come onto the front of your mat. Have a couple of blocks handy if you're using them, and if you don't have them, that's still okay. Feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you. Bend your left knee. Face the front of your mat. Hips are square to the front of your mat. Shoulders are square to the front of your mat. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Bend your left knee, maybe a little deeper. Lower both hands to either side of your left foot on the mat, or this is where you can place your hands on blocks. Step your right foot back even further and lower that right knee to the mat. And send your hips forward. Now tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee up off the mat, step the right foot forward maybe 5 or 6 inches and over to the right. Remove the blocks. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Interlace your fingers behind your back, reach your knuckles towards the back wall, open your chest forward and squeeze your shoulder blades together. As you exhale, lead with your chest and fold forward, letting your hands come up in humble warrior. Slowly come on back up. Release your fingers and bring your palms together by your heart. Reach forward with your torso. Twist to the left. If you can, place the right elbow on the outside of your left leg and twist to the left. And back to center. Release your hands and step your right foot forward to meet your left. Now step your left foot straight back behind you. Bend your right knee. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Again, hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. Maybe straighten the left leg and breathe. Play with this pose as if you've never done it before. It's all new. Just explore what's happening. Lower both hands either to the mat or to blocks and step your left foot back even further and lower that left knee to the mat and send both hips forward. Lift your left knee up off the mat, step that foot forward and over to the left by 5 or 6 inches. Just enough that you can balance your weight on your feet. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower your hands and interlace your fingers behind your back. Open your chest forward, squeeze your shoulder blades together. On an exhale, bow forward. Let your hands come up. And slowly come on back up. Bring your palms together at the front. Lean forward with your torso. Twist to the right, placing your left elbow to the outside of your right leg and twist. Breathe. Explore the sensations in this new activity. Come on back to center. Release your hands and step your left foot forward. Now, if you're using blocks, have them handy, just near the front of your mat. And if you're not using them, that's okay too. Feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back behind you. Let the right heel come down with the toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle. And now face the front of your mat, hands on hips. Draw your left hip back, right hip forward. Keep the legs straight and the spine straight. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, send the hips back and lean forward. Keep the spine straight. If your spine starts to round, to come further, come up and stop where your spine is still straight. And if you're not using blocks, you can either keep your hands on your hips, or some people can reach the floor. And if you have blocks, place them on either side of your left foot. You can place your hands just lightly on the blocks. And breathe in Parshvattanasana, pyramid pose. Really draw that left hip back. And come on up to standing. Bend your left knee and step your right foot forward. And now step your left foot straight back behind you. Toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle. Right toes facing forward. Right foot is parallel to the front of the mat. Hands on hips, draw your right hip back. Bring your left hip forward so your hips are square to the front of the mat. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, just send your hip flexors back. Keep your spine straight. You're hinging at the hips and come forward. Stop as soon as your back wants to round. And again, either stay here or place your hands on the mat, or if you're using blocks, place them at whatever height works for you. Any version. Just think, draw that right hip back. Think about leading with your chest. Keep your spine straight. And breathe. And then slowly come on up to standing. Release your hands, bend your right knee and step your left foot forward to meet your right. You can move the blocks aside, turn and face the long end of your mat. Take your feet nice and wide. So feet flat on the mat, an approximate distance you want your feet apart. If you were to put your arms out to the side, each ankle would be directly below each wrist. You can adjust them an inch or two either way so it's comfortable, but that's roughly where we're going. And now pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. And keep your left foot facing forward. Open that left hip back. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. And now think about hinging at that hip. Reach forward with your right hand. Reach, try to touch the front wall with your right hand. Go as far as you can. And then let your right arm come down. Lift your left arm up. Draw your left shoulder back. If this bothers your shoulder in any way, that left hand can always rest on the left hip. Breathe. Arms and legs are straight, but your knees are not locked. There's a micro bend in them. Engage the muscles in the quads in your legs. One more breath. And slowly rise to standing and lower your arms. Bend your right knee. Now if that right knee, like mine now, is passing the ankle, heel toe that left foot back, take a wider stance, and then try again. Keep your hips and shoulders parallel to the ground so you're not tilting. Spine is perpendicular. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing down. Turn and look over your right fingertips. Press into the mat with your feet for more engagement. And be mindful that your right knee is in the same direction as your right foot. Otherwise, adjust your foot so they're in alignment. And lower your arms and straighten your right leg. Pivot on your right heel and turn your toes in. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward, either placing your hands on the mat, or you can cross your arms and let your elbows dangle, or you can place your hands on blocks. Whatever version feels best for you. And place your hands on hips and come on up to standing. Pivot on your left heel and turn your left toes out. So your left foot is pointing in the opposite direction. Arms and legs stay straight here, but there's a micro bend in your knees. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Reach forward with your left hand as far as you can. You're hinging at that left hip flexor. Reach as far as you can go. And when you can go no further, let your left arm come down. Reach your right arm up. Draw your right shoulder back. Or option to place the right hand on the hip. And breathe. Just play, explore with the pose. It's all new to us today. No judgment. Just be an explorer today. Slowly come on back up to standing and lower your arms. Bend your left knee and make sure that left knee is pointing in the same direction as your left foot. Otherwise, adjust the foot. Open your right hip back, but keep the left knee pointing in that direction. Shoulders stay directly above the hips and reach your arms out to the side and turn and look over your left fingertips. Maybe deepen the lunge. And breathe. And straighten your left leg, lower your arms. Bring your pivot on that left heel and bring the toes in. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Just breathe and let go. And now place your hands on the mat, heel toe your feet together, and come onto your knees. And come to a kneeling position. So we'll be here for a couple of minutes, so if this bothers your knees, you can either place the blanket under them to give you extra padding, or you can just roll up your mat, and that will give you extra padding. So that's another option. Whatever works best for your knees. So we're coming into camel pose. So start by the kneeling position, tuck your toes. And place your hands on your hips behind so you can open your chest. And now imagine you can place place the palm of your hand on your hip on each side, as if you were putting your hands in pockets, in jean pockets. Now open your chest forward and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep your hips above your knees. So this might already be plenty for you in this pose. This is Ustrasana, camel pose. If you feel like this is enough, just play with this and release, and then just keep coming back to it. If you feel like you could do more, take your right hand, inhale, reach your right arm up, and then reach behind, placing your fingertips on your heel. But keep your hips forward. There's a tendency your hips may come back. Keep your hips directly above your knees. Send your chest forward and breathe. And then bring that hand back. And now lift your left arm up and back, finding your left heel, but keeping both hips forward. Open your chest, draw your shoulder blades together, and breathe. And then come on back. So there's one more option. That's option 2, or come back to the first option, just hands, heel of hand on hips. So now lift one arm up, reach behind and just place your fingertips on the heel. And now at the second arm, reach behind and place the other hand on top of that heel. Send your hips and chest forward, shoulders back. Now look straight ahead. There are other versions to this which we'll get into later, but for today, just look straight ahead and breathe. One more breath. Release one hand and then the other. And now from here, untuck your toes, lower your hips to your heels, and lower your torso towards the mat. Your head might rest on the mat, or you can rest on your forearms. In child's pose. It's a lovely counter pose to camel. One more breath here. And slowly lift up. And now just come back onto your knees. Keep your hips above your knees and walk your hands forward. And keep walking them forward as far as you can, and then let your chest lower towards the mat. Your forehead may reach the mat, it may not. But just let your chest open. If you'd like a bit of support, you can either place a block and rest your head on the block, or some people like a bolster, and you can rest your whole chest on a bolster. Just turn your face to one side. But just keep your hips above your knees. Be here for 3 or 4 breaths. And then slowly lift back up. Remove the prop if you're using one. Now coming into tabletop, take your knees as wide as the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet and bring your toes till they're touching. And then lower your hips to your heels. And then lower your whole body, your forehead towards the mat. And breathe. One more breath here. Slowly walk your hands under your shoulders. Lift your hips up just enough to bring your knees together. And then come on to a seated position. If you have a block, have it handy. If you do not have a block, you can use a bolster across your mat, or you can roll up a blanket fairly thick and only about maybe 5 inches wide or so. So it's enough. We're coming into supported bridge. So knees bent, feet flat on the floor, come right onto your back. And use whatever prop you're using, bolster, blanket, or block, and lift your hips up off the mat just enough to slide your prop under and place it right on your hips. Make sure it's not interfering with your lower back. You want it lower, right at your hips and lower, so you're sitting on it. And then rest your arms on the ground with your palms up. We'll be here for several breaths. Think about lifting your chest up, opening your chest wide, maybe walking your shoulder blades together. If that's too much, you can release your shoulders. Just scan your body here with a totally unbiased, open approach, as if you've never done this pose before. Explore the sensations. Notice your breath. Are you able to inhale a little more deeply? Can you relax fully in this pose? Be here for just a couple more breaths. Now gently lift your hips up just enough to slide whatever prop you're using out from under you, and remove that prop, and then slowly lower the hips back down. Softly hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. And now lower your feet to the mat, keep your feet together, and then let your knees come wide apart. This is Supta Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet are together, it looks like this, and the knees are wide. And then arms laying on the mat or the floor, palms facing up. And breathe. See if you can relax your jaw. Can you relax your hips and let your knees open just a little bit more? And then slowly bring your knees together. Lift your feet up off the mat. Place your hands behind your knees and just roll along your spine until you come up to a seated position. Now straighten your right leg and bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. If your lower back or sacrum are at all sore or tender, if you have any issues there, bring your left foot closer to your right knee so it's away from you, just further down your leg. Otherwise, if you've got a healthy lower back, you can bring the foot in closer or wherever it's comfortable. Now turn and face your right leg. Place your left hand on the outside of your right leg. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, reach forward, walking your hands forward. See if you can press that right knee into the mat. Try to lead with your chest rather than rounding your back, so draw your shoulders back. Don't worry about how far you go. Now walk your hands back. Lift your left leg up and place your left ankle on your thigh above your right knee. Place your hands behind you. And now bend your right knee, placing the sole of the left foot on the mat. Open your left knee away from you. And with your hands, push your chest forward. If you want to go a little deeper, place the right foot closer to your hip. Keep pushing your chest forward. Maybe closer still. Open that left knee away from you. And then straighten your right leg. Straighten your left leg. And actually now bring the soles of the feet together. Let's do Baddha Konasana from a seated position. So we did this on our backs a minute ago. And so place your hands behind you on the mat. You can have your legs more in a diamond shape for this version, but imagine your back is pressing against a wall, so keep your spine straight. And with your hands behind you, lean forward, leading with your chest, shoulders back. If you can do so without rounding your back, bring your hands forward and grab your ankles and continue to lean forward. You're not going down so much as forward. And if your back rounds in this version, just keep your hands behind you. Just breathe. Explore the sensations in your body as if you've never done this before. This is all new. So just try to consciously think about what you're doing, how you're doing it. And slowly come on back up and straighten your left leg. Bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Again, with lower back issues, you're better to keep your right foot closer to your knee. Otherwise, you can bring it in closer. And now turn and face your left leg. Left knee flat on the mat. Right hand, place it to the outside of the left leg. On an inhale, straighten your spine, lengthen it. On an exhale, send your chest forward, walking your hands forward. And breathe. Can you let go just a little bit more? Approaching this brand new pose. How do you explore new things? Walk your hands back. Now place your right ankle on your thigh so it's above your left knee. Bring your hands on the mat behind you. Bend your left leg and place the left foot on the mat. Push your right knee forward away from you. And with your hands, you can bring your spine, bring your whole upper back forward. Keep that right foot flexed. And for a deeper stretch in your hips, bring your left foot closer to you. And breathe. One more breath here. And straighten the left leg. And now just bring the right foot to the outside of the left leg. So you're crossing your right foot over. If your both hips are not on the mat, you can sit on a block here. Bring your left hand behind you. We're coming to a simple twist. Bring your right hand over and grab either your ankle, maybe your shin, or the arch of your foot. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, twist to the left. Try to keep that right foot flat on the mat. With every inhale, release the twist just a touch, enough to lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, invite your body to twist more deeply. And slowly, gently come on back to center. Straighten your right leg. Start with your hands behind you. Just so you can see me. I'll move back. And then send your chest forward. See if you can press your knees into the mat. Try to keep your spine straight. Option to walk your hands forward. And breathe. Sending the chest forward a little bit more, just softly, gently. And then come on back up with your hands behind you. Bend your left leg and cross your left foot over your right. Keep your right hand behind you, and with your left hand reach over and grab either your shin, ankle, or arch. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. As you exhale, twist to the right. Inhaling, lengthen, twisting more deeply as you exhale. And then come on back to center. Uncross your legs. Bend both knees. Have the feet flat on the mat. And roll onto your back. Bring your arms out to your side, away from you in a T position. Slide your hips over to the right. And let your knees roll to the left. And now turn your gaze and look over your right arm. You might soften your gaze or close your eyes if it's comfortable. Let your body just relax into this gentle twist. And then slowly bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips over to the left. Let your knees roll to the right. And turn your gaze to the left. And slowly come on back to center. Straighten your legs and reach your arms up over your head. Now slide your feet over to the left and slide your arms over to the left. So you're almost making a banana shape with your body. With your left hand, hold on to your right wrist and extend your right arm up. And now walk your hands and feet back to center. And with your right hand, hold on to your left wrist. Walk your feet over to the right. Walk your hands over to the right. And breathe. And then come on back to center. Release your arms. The next pose is Shavasana. So before we begin, if you'd like to get a sweater or a blanket, it's nice to place a blanket over top of you. Another nice option for Shavasana, if you do have a bolster or blanket handy, is you can place the bolster or blanket across your mat and just rest your knees right on the bolster or blanket. It just elevates your knees and it protects your lower back. It's a nice way to come into Shavasana. So as you lay on your mat, relax your body. Let your palms be resting, facing up. Soften your gaze, or if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And let go. Relax every muscle in your body. If your mind is wandering with thoughts, notice them and then let go. Come back to your breath. Softly allow your breath to deepen. Gently wiggle your fingers, your toes. Stretch your arms and legs, maybe stretching your arms up over your head, and stretch your legs, your whole body. And then slowly hug your knees to your chest and roll over to your right side. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.